So we're here today with Tomisin, the co-founder of Vesicash. Thank you so much for making the time to meet with us.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Tomisin, what does Vesicash exactly do?
Vesicash it's a company that's focused on providing payment security for people in online transactions. Our solutions offer people accountability, transparency, and of course, payment assurance that they get value for whatever they pay for. So our flagship product is a digital escrow service that allows people to make sure that they get the value that they've paid for. Yes.
So basically, if I want to buy something, let me say a car,
Yes.
or an electric motorbike,
Yeah.
and
Of course.
and then the challenge comes, okay, do I first hand over the motorbike or do I first pay? And then if I first pay, how will I be sure that I will get the motorbike?
Exactly.
And the other person, okay, if they give me the motorbike first, can they be sure that I have the
Exactly.
money to actually pay them?
Exactly. So it's like the scenario that you just painted now. There are a lot of risks involved in it, and then with the current payment processes, there are risks for either party. So what it is that as a buyer, I will not want to put up my money without a guarantee that I get what I paid for.
Yeah.
So in Nigeria, we came up with this in the payment space. This solution was come up with. It's called the payment on delivery model, where you pay, and then you don't make payments until the merchant ships out his items, and then you receive it as the customer. Then you have the choice of making payment for it.
Okay, I saw that on Jumia, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But of course, this comes with its own inherent risks, which is, as a customer, I may refuse to make payment for it. I may not want it anymore. You make a purchase on a whim,
Yeah.
but because you don't make a financial commitment, you can make it impulse purchase. You can make an impulse purchase.
I understand, yeah.
So because there's no financial commitment, there's nothing really tying you to that transaction.
So it means someone might ship it out, it arrives at my doorstep, and I say, no, I don't want it anymore.
And at that
now
point,
they
you've
have
already-
all the expense already for the shipment. Yeah.
Exactly. So with our system, we make sure that, okay, this customer shows some financial commitment, which shows that, oh, he's serious about making this purchase. And then after you get that guarantee that this guy is serious, he's put up his money, but his money is safe. His money isn't going to me, the merchant, until I deliver and it's to the specifications of what I said it is. Exactly. And then our system actually requires confirmation from both parties. So as a seller, I confirm that I've made the delivery, and as the person who is making the payment, I confirm that yes, it's what I expected.
All right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And even in terms of, cash on delivery, I was just looking at an item on Jumia, a drone, to do some, aerial
Yeah.
images. And then there was, I think, cash on delivery, but I thought, I don't want to walk around with $1,000 on me through Lagos and hand it over to someone in some corner.
So unfortunately, with this scenario you painted as well, there have been incidents in the past 2-3 years, where delivery men have actually gotten robbed. So this is from the other side. So as a salesperson for an e-commerce platform, I send out the merchants, and there was no financial commitment. I send out the logistics guy, the delivery, the rider. There was no financial commitment from the buyer.
Yeah.
He says he wants an iPhone. So they ship out the iPhone. They get there. This happened, and they killed the guy. They've killed about 2 or so of these guys.
Wow.
Yes. So there are too many risks with this system. And then you can have an instance of, okay, as the person who's buying, right, I have my cash on me, and it may be a setup.
Yeah.
And I may get set up and robbed.
Yeah. Well, so I definitely understand the value of the solution. Now, if the item does not work, let me say, and I put in some cash with you, then how do you resolve any issues that come up?
So before it gets to a point of the payment being released, we have an inspection period. So this kind of digital commerce, it could be for a service, it could be for a product. So for a service, you have to have some time to inspect it. If it's a digital delivery, if it's a deliverable like a website, or if it's code, a line of code, or a software project, you need to review this. So that inspection period can be set by both parties. They have to agree to it, and then that window gives them a chance to review what has been delivered. If it's a product one, we have a typical window of 24 hours, but that can also be set by them. So you have a period to actually go over this and say, okay, it's exactly what I expected. And if once that window is closed, the money moves to the other guy. So
Okay.
We have that opportunity.
And if there is an issue with the product, for example, let me say I buy a camera and it's faulty, how can you help resolve these conflicts or potential conflicts?
So we don't come in once the inspection period is over and the payment has been confirmed and the money has moved. It's done. That transaction, that is a closed transaction.
Yeah.
But in an instance where there is a bit of back and forth, this is not what I sent, this is not what I received, there's some difference, there's some discrepancy, we actually have a dispute resolution mechanism and make sure that the dispute is resolved within like 72 hours.
Okay.
So we have a 72-hour period where we expect them to. On our platform, we have an interface that allows them to exchange messages,
okay,
upload relevant images, and then if that cannot be resolved within that period, it's escalated to a claim.
Okay.
After which we have our arbitrators, our partners, who actually help them sit down with them and resolve this externally from the platform.
All right. Okay. So you have some legal partners basically there that can help move along the process. Very good. I really love it because it's enabling the exchange of goods and services in an economy where it might otherwise be very challenging to do so in a secure manner. How did you come up with the idea? Sorry.
So exactly, it stemmed from a personal need. I'm someone who, and me and my founding team, this is a problem that we faced. Founding team has we've worked as freelancers. We've worked as we engage in digital commerce. So we've had instances of personally, now I'll speak for myself. I've had instances where I delivered a gig to a client and I chased him for over 4 or 5 months trying to get payments. Yeah, and it was like, he kept giving me different stories. But if it was a situation where he had made payments and the money was in escrow, that situation wouldn't have played out. Yeah. But because there was no commitment from him. And for that kind of instance, our system allows what you call a milestone, have a milestone feature for services where you can make sure that the service provider gets his payment in milestones. He gets his disbursement
in increments.
Exactly, once he completes different phases of the project. So it doesn't have to be a one-off payment. And also, I'm someone who wants to buy things online. I ordered something on an e-commerce, on the marketplace platform. And the problem with marketplace platforms in Nigeria is that there's really no quality assurance because they have so many merchants and there's no way for them to guarantee the quality of what is being sold on the platform. So I ordered a pair of jeans from the platform and then it got delivered. I paid up front because I usually personally I like making financial commitment because I don't want to spend the money on anything else. And personally, the item is of more value to me than the money at that point. I want to give you the money because I want the item. So I'd rather make payments upfront. So I made payment upfront and they delivered to me something very different, materially different from what I ordered. I ordered a black pair of jeans. I got a blue pair of, I don't know what they were. They were not denim. And so I actually, and I have to admit, their customer support was really good. I told them that this was the problem. They said, okay, I can send it back to them, but either way, they'll give me a coupon for another item. I said, okay, I'll keep the item, give me the coupon. So I ordered another pair of jeans from a different merchant with the coupon and it ended up being this exact same pair. The exact same wrong pair I ordered. So I had 2 pairs of the wrong pair of jeans. So different merchants. So that's another thing. These platforms, and to be fair, some of these platforms have tried to put in this kind of payment security component, but there's a disconnect because I'm still paying to the platform. Regardless of the fact that the money doesn't go to the merchant, they don't release the money to the merchant. As a customer, my money is still with this platform. So why would I want to give you the money? And they are very reluctant to release the money because, like I said, they will give you a coupon. They don't want to give your money back. Yeah. They don't want to give you your money. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then on the flip side, we've had coming up with this. We did a lot of market research in Nigeria and Ghana, and we saw them with a lot of merchants. And one of them showed us his dashboard on one of these platforms. And so for the orders that were paid, that payment was made up front, he had a 0% return rate or default rate. For the orders that were pay on delivery, he had over 70% return rate. Wow. Yes. So imagine what that does for you as a business. Yeah. You think you've made a sale. You've actually incurred some costs on that sale. Yeah. But then at the end of the day, you run at a negative.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Understand. When I hear the word escrow and financial services, it sounds very complex to me to start it up as a business. So I'm very curious, how did you saw that there was a need for it? What was your first step to actually setting up an escrow service?
So the founding team met in Ghana. We're in a training program, MEST. And so at MEST, you're actually given some exposure to the requisite skills to building a business. And there are modules in business, in tech, in communication, and we had that as a general, as on the ground level, and then we also were pulling in the same direction. We had the same vision, our goals were outlined, and then we've actually taken a lot of input from industry experts. Because we may not have the domain expertise, so we actually have a lot of mentors, advisory board that actually give us key information and also help us open doors, along with MEST, open doors and help us talk to the right people that can help with our solution.
All right. Do you require a banking license to set up an escrow service?
In Nigeria, there is no particular license for an escrow service provider.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, people send you the money, you hold it, and then you release it whenever the time has come to release it.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you build your MVP? Like the first test of, can this work? How did you build that? How long did it take you?
So after extensive market research in Ghana, we sat down with our investors and we realized that Ghana may be a bit limiting as a market for us to launch in. So we came back to Nigeria in August last year, that's 2018. And then from that period, we began building our MVP, which we launched in December of that year. And our team is very lean, so we didn't move as fast as we would have loved. But with that product that we had in the market, we were able to gather a lot of learnings. So we went back to the drawing board after having that in the market for a month or two. And then we developed from scratch, changed everything, took the learnings that we had from the market, from the customers, put that directly into what we had, which is what we currently have now. Obviously, we launched that in March, if I remember correctly. And we've actually learned so much from that as well, which is why we have continuous development processes going on for what we have.
Are you a developer yourself?
So I'm a non-technical founder.
Okay.
If I look at a piece of code, I have an idea what it means, but no, I don't code.
Yeah. So, but you built the app, everything in-house by yourself.
Yes.
Okay. And was there ever a moment in time when you thought like, okay, now I know it's working?
So the thing about what we do is, from the jump, every single person connects with the problem.
Yeah.
So what we've been doing is, the challenge we've had is actually building a product that is usable and reusable and that meets customers at their pain points and not trying to shoehorn them. So that is what it's been. Okay. The problem is there. Once anybody hears about the problem, hears about our solution, it clicks with them. But always, so the thing is, there's a wide array of use cases. There's social commerce, there's e-commerce, there's the freelance industry, the gig economy, there's conveyancing. There's a huge array of use cases for us where this solution is needed. But so how do you make your solution applicable to the particular problem or that you're solving at that point in time? So that's what the challenge has been.
Okay, it makes sense. So basically you're saying, okay, the solution has to be functional, but then your main challenge is marketing, finding the people at the point in time where they have the issue, because you don't have it all the time. You have it when you want to buy something, and you need to be certain that you either get the money or the person will pay.
Exactly.
So my question is, some of the solutions that are coming up, I've seen them maybe in the US or in Europe. Why was there a need for a Nigerian or an African version of an escrow service? Why did the other escrow services that might be existing on the market, why did they not get adapted here?
It's a very simple answer to that question is, every financial service that's offered on a global scale doesn't directly translate to this market. Yeah. Maybe it's because it's Nigeria. Maybe it's because they don't have the understanding of the local market. But every global solution, essentially, you need a Nigerian version of it. And then, as well as it goes, you may be able to scale that solution across Africa and globally. But you have to start with Nigeria first. If you're building for Nigeria, you can't start with somewhere else and come to Nigeria. Okay. You have to start with Nigeria first. Like, even a company that sells something as simple as toothpaste or cooking oil, You can't come to Nigeria and say, oh, we sell our cooking oil for $7. Let's bring this to Nigeria. Nah, man, they're gonna fail. You have to package those things into like 50-cent packs or dollar packs. No, like 50 cents or 30 cents for you to sell in Nigeria. So you have to think Nigeria first. So that's it. It has to be applicable for us, our content.
That makes sense to me. And I think it's a huge opportunity for founders here, because you can basically look at what is already existing in the world, but what do we have here, and how can we make that match the local demand. Did you always know that you want to become an entrepreneur?
I think so. Yes, I've actually worked in a few places, especially as an intern. I'm actually a trained architect, so I have experience in working in those kinds of settings. But I've always known. It wasn't like I had a light bulb go off in my head one day. I've just known. It's just been what it is about me, because I've always been a freelancer most of the time. Ever since I've been a professional, I've done a lot of freelance jobs. So that part of me was always there, of always wanting to build my own thing, always wanting to. And the thing is, I'm someone who, if I open my phone, my Evernote app, you see tons of ideas dating back to 2013. So I've always had that instinct of when I see a problem, I want to be the one to offer a solution for that, because that means you're the one who profits, right? So I like finding problems. Solving them is a different thing. But yes, I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit.
How did you, or was there ever a point in time when you decided internally, yes, I can do that? Was there maybe like a pivotal point in time where you said, okay, now that's where I gathered all the confidence that I will be the founder and I will solve this problem for Africa?
It has to be when I got into the training program at Nest. So when I applied, I was always on tech blogs. As an architect, I was always on tech blogs and all that. And I just had an interest. So the first day I saw the application or the call for applications, I was reading through it and I was expecting them to say, you have to have a degree in computer engineering or computer science. And I never saw that, and I applied. And because they didn't have that requirement, I was like, why not? Let me just do it. And it ended up being a validation for me that I can play in this space even without having that computer science background. So because there's a role, my role now is directly translatable. The skills I have are directly translatable from my skills as an architect. Yeah, I'm a user experience designer. That's what you do as an architect. I'm in charge of products. So that building of a product, for always putting yourself in someone else's shoes, seeing how they perceive it, how they're going to use it, how they're going to feel comfortable. That's your role as an architect. So I've been able to translate that role directly into my role.
I love that, and that leads directly to my next question. I'm also a non-technical founder, I would say, in my businesses. And what would be your advice to other non-technical founders? How can you, approach technology? Even though you might not be the computer scientist, how can you approach it from a mental level? How do you approach maybe technical co-founders? Or what do you think is the value that these kind of people, maybe the creatives or other people, can bring to the table?
So it's more about being I think I won't say passionate, but being invested in the problem you're trying to solve. If you're invested in the problem you're trying to solve, you can always so it depends on what your what do you call it, your orientation is. Are you business oriented? Are you a creative, as you said? It depends on what that is. And whatever that role is that you feel like you fit in, it is essentially putting your best in and learning as much as possible about the requirements for that role. And very important is, if you think you're a non-technical co-founder, and then maybe you're a founder, you're starting out alone, it's very key to point out that you can't do it on your own. You can't do it on your own. You have to find the right people. So I don't know a metric for you to find the best team, but you have to get that right. I think that's the most important thing, making sure that the team around you is the right team. And what that is, I can't really say, but when you find the good team, you'll know.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me. And I think also one of the things that I've learned is, you don't have to know how to write the code, but you can develop a general understanding for how the logic behind it works, what challenges are in this space. And then for whatever business or project you launch, you will always need marketing and sales as well.
And the thing is, it starts from it doesn't just start with the product. You want to build a product. You have to think about the market size. You have to think about the potential of it as a business. When you think about the possibility of a business, you think of the possibility of acquiring that customer. You think of how you're going to get that customer, the channels you're going to get that customer through. When you have to have all those things figured out before you even think about building a product. Before you think about the personas, you think about the use cases. You have to have those things figured out before you say, let's write a line of code.
Yeah, makes sense. And even partnerships, I guess. And that is a people business.
I can't believe I haven't spoken about partnerships. Our company is built on 3 things: people, partnerships, and products. Like, every one of them is like, I call it a tripod. Every one of them is very important because you have the right people. Like I said, you have the right team, but that doesn't mean within that team all the resources you need are there. So a key relationship, a key external relationship can scale your business 10x overnight. So you have to have the partnerships right, and of course, what you're offering, your product, has to be on point.
Yeah. Now, going off on this partnership thing, who would you partner with if you could? Who would you ask for a partnership if they said yes, definitely? Who would that be?
So the thing is, I hate to be that guy, but Nigeria is very competitive. Like, for instance, our product is proprietary. It's patented, our technology. Our key partner is a game changer in the industry. So I might not want to divulge that now. Yeah. It's something we're working on now, and it's really a game changer for us. Yes. Okay. So unfortunately, I can't.
No. It's good. It's your stuff. It's good.
No hint in what space they are and so on.
It's in the payment space.
Okay, in the payment space. Okay, I mean, and I just see that there's so much potential for this to evolve, and I really hope to see it on for example, Jumia soon, so I can buy my drone there.
No problem. I hope so too. It will be everywhere.
My final question would be, what would be your advice for young African today?
So it has to be something I'm battling with myself. It's imposter syndrome. You think you're not good enough. It's going to be there, and that should be your motivation to want to be better. But it shouldn't stop you from wanting to get started. It should push you to want to be better, not it shouldn't scare you from wanting to do. So you're always going to feel like you're not good enough. You're always going to feel like, you're not the right person. But that shouldn't stop. It should just make you want to be better, but it shouldn't make you afraid. That's it. I'm battling with that myself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, man.
Thank you.